Eu estou aqui no Media Lab do MIT com o professor, diretor do Media Lab, Mitch, que tem uma enorme experiência em pesquisa, Lego, Logo, e é uma grande referência em informática educativa no mundo. Mitch, tell us a little bit more about your life and how do you decide, invest your time to do what you're doing?
Right. Yeah, well, when I was in college, I studied the sciences. I was a physics major. But after college, I decided to work as a journalist, writing about science and technology. And I was covering Silicon Valley in the United States, and there were many exciting things happening then. It was near the time of the first personal computers, and there was a lot of excitement going on. I got to talk to leading people at companies like Apple. So many things were exciting, but something was missing. Somehow, I was missing a purpose in my life. I was excited about the technology could do amazing things, but just seeing the technology doing more impressive things wasn't enough for me. And I think there was a big transition the first time I went to hear a talk at what was called the West Coast Computer Fair. This was in 1982. And this was a place where people, enthusiasts, early enthusiasts of computers would come together and show off the amazing things they were doing with the computers. But the one person who stood out for me was Seymour Papert. He was giving a talk, and he wasn't talking about what was amazing about the most advanced technology, but rather how it could change the way children could understand the world and understand themselves. And I saw the software he was developing that allowed children, it gave children a new voice, where children could express themselves, they could communicate. And for me, it opened my eyes to a new way of thinking about learning and education. That it wasn't about someone just delivering information to the child or a computer giving information to the child, but rather Seymour was giving me this vision of how the computer could open up new possibilities for the child to get their voice out to the world. And that was the type of world that I wanted to live in. So I was interested in the technology, but that wasn't enough. And when I heard Seymour talk, it gave me a purpose of what I saw that I could do with the technology to empower children so that their voice could be heard. So for me, it sort of gave me a mission and something that I thought was worthwhile, that if I could help children develop their voice, to experiment, to explore, to become more empowered, where they could see new opportunities for themselves, that could really make a difference. And that was the type of world I wanted to live in, where children were able to develop in that way. So I think Seymour opened my eyes to seeing technology in a new way, but more important, to seeing learning in a new way, seeing children in a new way. And that set me on a course almost 30 years ago. And in many ways, I've stayed on that same course for the last 30 years with that same mission, and just continually try to say, how can we use the newest technologies in order to empower children to develop their voice, to explore, experiment, and find a way that they can be contributors to the world.
So through the similar inspiration, you decide to change your life and invest your life to do this. What's the impact of your work when you see the last 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
What do you accomplish now and make you fulfilled?
Right. So, yes, because of that inspiration from Seymour, I left my job as a journalist. I went back to graduate school and started working on technology and learning. And I think what's been most exciting for me is both developing new technologies and developing new places that give children new opportunities to create, to invent, to see themselves in new ways. So like with our Computer Clubhouse network, it makes those opportunities available to children who otherwise wouldn't have those opportunities. So we have 100 of those centers around the world where children can come and learn to use technologies to express themselves creatively. Or with technologies that we've developed, like robotics kits, the Lego Mindstorms robotics kits, we developed their initial versions of those. And the Scratch programming software, which is our newest project. These are technologies that allow children to design, create, invent, and now millions of children around the world are using these technologies to be able to create new things with technologies, and again, most important, start to see themselves in new ways. That a lot of times children who didn't imagine that they could be real contributors in society, when they use this new technology, like the robotics kits or Scratch software, they use the new technology to get their voice out to the world. They start to believe they could make a difference in the world. And to me, that's so satisfying that I feel that if I'm making the technology and places that give children a new way to think about their possibilities in the world, that's what makes me very happy.